It is Friday the 10th of June and I'm coming at you this week from the volcanic island of Ometepe in Nicaragua. So I haven't uploaded in the last couple of weeks, mainly to the fact that it's been very poor internet connection, to say the very least. But I doubt that that's anyone's concern, and more importantly, you want to know if the portfolio has violently imploded. So for the day, we're down a touch under 38,000, but for the year, we're still up around 498,000 Swedish crowns. At the current exchange rates, that's about 47,000 euros, or about 49,500 US dollars. So percentage-wise, that's we're up 28.02%, and actually on Tuesday we got as high as 36.78%. And so that meant that the portfolio briefly for the day touched 600,000 Swedish crowns. But of course, that was before the inflation numbers were released, and since that release, the portfolio has actually climbed back down. So week ending, we're down 2.2%, and the S&P is actually far worse. It's down 5.3% for the week, and for the year, it's come back down negative 18.37%. And so rolling through the different time frames, over the month, we're up 3.24%. Over the quarterly, we're up 9.25%, and the trailing year, we're up close to 48%. So this was the big news that moved the market aggressively down this week. It was released that the inflation rate, it's the highest it's been in 40 years, rose to 8.6%. It states that surging food, gas and energy prices all contributed to the gain, with fuel going up 106.7% from last year. So this is in large part due to the European Union vote on the Russian oil embargo. And so Europe's trying to peel themselves away from the dependence on Russian energy, and this partial ban will consequently result in a 90% ban of import of Russian oil by year end. So no surprises then that Brent crude, the price of the barrel of Brent crude, soared to $122 a barrel. Now I actually own three of the six super majors, with my biggest holding in ExxonMobil. So consequently, that's contributed to the upside in the portfolio. Exxon this year is up 83%. And of the gain, about 5,300 was from dividends, which is pretty sweet. So Chevron is my second biggest oil holding, and that's up 67% this year. So that's doing well. And also the third holding I have is in Total Energies, and that's up close to 26% year to date. So the other big significant move up this week was the US dollar Swedish crown. So in the week, it went up 2.53%, and we see that it's pushing close towards March 2020 all-time highs, and we're only about 3% down from that level, and I expect the US dollar to surge past and create new all-time highs within the next couple of weeks. So the only other big move that I've made, strategic move that I've made, is get into some mining companies, and I've started to pick up positions in BHP and also its main competitor in Rio Tinto. And so a keen eye would have noticed that Rio actually makes up 7.5% of my overall portfolio. So in past videos, I've alluded to the fact that I am a long-term, predominantly buy and hold dividend investor. And so that means that my style generally takes a while to unfold and to play out. And so coupled with the fact that I don't actually just want to churn through information just for the sake of it, I think I'm going to pivot into my travels and unveiling what I do and where I go in my travels. I've spent 2.5 months in Nicaragua, and we've got about 3 weeks left in this beautiful country. And so I think I'm going to spend the remaining time on this volcanic island called Ometepe. And I think we're due for a visa run, which could be, I think, to either Costa Rica or to Guatemala. And the chances are that we're going to return back for a fresh 3 months here in Nicaragua. So the island is situated in the middle of a lake, and it has two massive volcanoes, with one of them being active. Recently went off back in 2010. But we spent the last 5 days down the south, where it's quite rural, and in a way it's like a step back into time. And so there's not much going on down there, which is a change of pace to the last 2 months that we spent in San Juan del Sur. And so with the trouble with the non-existent horrible internet connection. We also had dramas with running water. A couple of days there, it just didn't work for us. But besides that, the people are lovely. They're so friendly and so welcoming. And besides the obvious language barriers, we were able to communicate quite well with them. In fact, I'd go as far as saying is Nicaraguan people were probably the best that I've encountered in terms of like genuine like friendliness and welcoming nature, which was a vast difference from the Yucatan side in Mexico, which we spent the last month of our 6-month trip in Mexico, where it was just constantly hustle and it was quite hectic. Just one further thing, before we leave to do our visa run, guessing to Costa Rica, I'm going to try and get under my belt a volcano hike. That thing's going to take about 8 hours with a early 4 o'clock start in the morning. And of course that volcano hike is the active one. So let's hope it stays asleep and dormant and doesn't decide to wake up the very time that I'm climbing. With that, I'm going to wrap it up and I'll see you on the next one.